Good morning and welcome back to my channel. Well, it's a beautiful day in Essex today, which is so welcome because we've had some really wet and miserable and grey days, which for this part of the country is quite unusual. And it's so lovely today to come out and to actually see the sun again. And I thought I'd do a little update video this year on Cosmos Purity. These are one of my favourite plants to grow in the garden, and this year I'm doing something a little bit different. I've decided this year to grow them against a little picket fence. If I show you, I'll just pan round and you can see. It's actually about 4 foot tall, this fence, and I purchased it really because about 7 years ago, when we had our puppy, we wanted to make sure that there was an extra barrier between her and the outside world. We've actually got quite secure gates and things around the house, but we decided that it would be quite nice if we could keep her in a smaller area to start with until we were fairly sure that she wasn't going to make an escape bid. So we put this little picket fence in and some extra gates just to give her that little bit of extra security. And as a result, I've ended up with quite a nice little area, a backdrop really, to grow certain things. And this year, rather than having the cosmos in a bed of their own, I've decided to try something a little bit different, which is basically to underplant them with a little wildflower meadow. Actually, the wildflower meadow is just starting to start to flower, and if you look down here, we've got some lovely white flowers and some lovely blue ones, and I think this is just the start. And it seems to be attracting a lot of insects and bees, which is absolutely lovely, and it provides a nice little area underneath the cosmos so that they can blend in. So I'm really pleased, and I'll come back in a couple of weeks and show you what else is flowering, because I only planted this meadow in March, April time, so literally at the moment it's just starting, which tends to happen with meadows. You get a succession of different flowers growing, so you know, it's going to be a continuing story, but for the moment it's providing a lovely backdrop for these, and I absolutely love them. I have done a video on how to grow these from seed, and I do buy them from Sarah Raven sometimes as plants, but I have in the last couple of years grown my own as well, because I just love them and I tend to put them everywhere. And cosmos, if you're not familiar with them, do come in all sorts of different colours and sizes. I mean, there's now some called Cosmos Doorstep, which are absolutely lovely little ones that you can put in pots, but these are quite tall. And I particularly like the white ones. As it's going dark in the sort of twilight time, they look particularly lovely. So they're in this bed, and I've also got an Annie Elizabeth apple, which is actually just behind them here. So there's an awful lot going on in this little tiny area, and of course just to my left here is the Stella cherry tree, so you can sort of imagine what's going on in this whole little area. So in terms of growing these, if you want to know how to grow them from seed, just check out my other video called Cosmos Purity Grow from Seed. But to give you a general idea, you want to be sowing these. I tend to start them off in the coal frame around March, April time, because in this part of the world, if you put something into a coal frame at that time of year, it's generally frost free. And I grow them on till they're probably about 1 foot tall. By that stage here, it's probably May, late May, and the danger of frost is past because they don't like frost at all. And then I'll plant them out into their flowering positions. And then really all you have to do is just let them grow on for a little while. They do like a little bit of fertilizer, so I tend to just dig in some nice compost into the soil. Not too much, but they do like free drainage, and they do like a lot of sun. And then by growing them up against this fence, I've actually got quite a bit of support for them, so I haven't actually had to tie them up quite as much. The thing about cosmos is, if they get a very windy day and if the plant stems fall down towards the ground and bend, then it's very, very difficult that that particular stem will ever recover, and you tend to have flowers that are growing but you can't really enjoy them because they tend to be pointing downwards, and it's a bit of a lost cause as the plant gets weak and so on. So they do need a little bit of staking. I've used shortish canes, and I've also tied some of the ones that are nearer the fence actually to the fence as well. So it's early days. I mean, this year everything's very late because of the bad weather, but these are just starting to look lovely now, and oh gosh, they're one of my favourite flowers. You can't really beat them. I think the simpleness of white is what's so beautiful. I love white geraniums as well. I think they're particularly lovely. You know, don't be frightened of buying in a garden centre 12 white geraniums or 12 white cosmos, because they sound sort of plain and simple, but actually they're very, very calming and relaxing. And as I say, as the light fades, they look particularly beautiful. They seem to come into their own. So a nice sunny spot for these. And then the important thing is to actually just remember that when the flower dies, all you have to do is go back to the next area of the plant here. So where this stem here joins the next plant, you can cut that there, and if you do that, you'll get more and more flowers as they get a little bit more advanced. If I show you this one, for instance, this one is now multi-stemmed here, then you just literally cut the one that's finished down to there, and then these other two stems will grow and you can see a flower bud here. But you do need to keep doing it in order to prolong the flowering. If you do this, you'll have beautiful cosmos flowers for, well, last year well into October, until the first frost, even November if you're lucky. So that's Cosmos Purity, and absolutely wonderful flowers. And I am really excited this year to be trying this underplanting of the meadow. And I'm really loving the sort of emergence of the little flowers underneath. So we have these beautiful little lavender lilac coloured flowers there, and we've got some lovely white ones, and I think that over time we're going to get other things coming up as well. And it's all in this lovely little spot where it's getting lots of sun, and I've got this lovely Annie Elizabeth apple tree that's only 2 years old, and I'm really enjoying looking at that and watching it grow. So there we are, Cosmos Purity, one of my favourite plants in the garden, and just so lovely. I mean, just today there's a very gentle wind, and they're just starting to wave in the wind, not too much but just a little bit, and it was absolutely beautiful. I think this one's probably my favourite at the moment. Absolutely beautiful. Cosmos Purity. Highly recommend this gorgeous plant, and such good value for money because you'll get flowers for months on end from just a small outlay.